So I'm going to be going very briefly through these precepts. We have a little precept card. And as I explained yesterday, these are Jaya Kula mandala precepts that people are more or less following. Don't want to be too optimistic. And I'm also going to be giving longer teachings on these in satsang. So if you want to come to satsang, that's tonight at 6:30 p.m. So the second precept, yesterday we talked about show up for your practice every day very briefly. And this morning we're going to talk about the second precept, engage the teachings. So I could probably give a 2-hour teaching on this. This is just going to be very brief. Hello, Anna. Good morning. And there's a wonderful teaching from the teaching stories, the Puranas from India and the yogic tradition, which is there's 3 kinds of students. There's students who have, who are like a pot that is turned upside down. And so the teachings are coming, but they're not getting in. And then there's a student who is like a pot with a bunch of holes in the bottom. So the teachings are going through, but then they're just spilling out again on the ground. Nothing is being retained. So then there is another student who's like a pot that's turned up. So it's receiving the teachings and retaining the teachings so that something can actually get cooked. And of course, cooking is one of the main metaphors for what happens to students when they're on a path of self-realization, that they're being cooked. Good morning, Josephine, which implies that there's some heat happening and some transformation happening, and that something delicious is being prepared, but maybe it's not so comfortable the whole way along. So engage the teachings means listen to the teachings. And of course, many of us are encountering these teachings as tradition that is not our birth tradition. And of course, also many of us are living in a Abrahamic coalition dominated country or countries. So we have all sorts of received ideas that are deeply embedded in our body, energy, and mind about religion and about God and about how things are. And maybe we have been encountering traditions from India in a very superficial way without clear view teachings. So we have some mixed up ideas that we're carrying around that we gleaned from various yoga studios and stuff like that. So it's important when we encounter teachings that are more unified in their view and that have a very multi-layered view, that we try to set aside all of our received ideas and just listen with a more open, original beginner's mind and not try to interpret things to make them sound more like our birth tradition or more like something we heard somewhere else. Most of us are addicted to familiarity, but unfamiliarity can be fun and exciting too. So it's good to try to listen with a more, what they say in Buddhism, a beginner's mind. So engaging the teachings first means listening and trying to absorb the teachings with their own integrity. Every tradition has its own integrity, and we should try to listen for that integrity and understand the teachings on their own terms, not on our terms. And then, of course, trying to retain the teachings, not to be a pot that doesn't have holes in the bottom. And that means, you know, simple stuff like taking notes, rereading notes, studying, asking questions. So many people, I don't know, I'm waving this card around like it's a weapon. I think I'll put it down. So many people in our culture are afraid to ask questions because they're prideful. So they don't want to ask a stupid question. They don't want to ask a beginning question. Sometimes I see students, you know, sitting through a whole satsang. I can see their minds working. They're trying to formulate the perfect, most smart-sounding question. This is, you know, not being receptive to the teachings. This is just reinforcing small self. So just ask whatever questions you have. Try to use the teacher or whatever you're reading to clarify the view, and then you'll have a better practice. So this is just a little bit about what it means to engage the teachings, and I'll talk more about it tonight in satsang.